All right, today we're jumping right into the 4Cs framework. This isn't just a simple update to the old 4Ps. It's a completely different way of thinking about business. It's about shifting our focus from the product we want to push to the consumer we want to serve. Let's dive in. So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by looking at this big shift in thinking. Then we'll break down each of the 4Cs one by one. After that, we'll get into practical strategies, look at a real-world example, and wrap it all up with this new marketing mindset. So what is this revolution really all about? Well, it's a total change in perspective. It means you have to start looking at your business from the outside in, seeing it through the eyes of the only person who really matters, your customer. This slide just lays it out perfectly. You see, the old 4Ps model was inside out. It all started with the product and what the business wanted to sell. But the 4Cs framework, which Robert F. Lauterborn came up with back in 1990, completely flips that script. It's an outside-in approach that starts and ends with the consumer. We're moving away from shouting at the masses to having a real conversation with a very specific niche. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of these four pillars. And, understanding them isn't just some academic exercise. It's absolutely essential if you want to build a strategy that actually works in today's market.
First up is consumer, and it replaces the old idea of product. This is a big deal because it forces us to stop asking, what can we build? And instead start asking, what does our customer truly need? What problem are they trying to solve? Maybe it's a problem they don't even know how to put into words yet.
And we have to go deep here. We're talking about doing customer persona audits to figure out the specific jobs to be done. We're hyper-personalizing for a tiny niche instead of just shouting into the void. And maybe most importantly, we have to recognize the transformation factor. You've heard it before. People don't buy a drill, they buy a hole in the wall. They are literally buying a better version of their own future.
Next, cost replaces price. And this is a much bigger, more empathetic idea. It's not just about the price tag. It's about the total sacrifice a consumer makes to get and use your solution.
Let's unpack that a little. We have to think about non-monetary sacrifices, the time they spend researching, the energy it takes to learn your software, even psychological stuff like buyer's remorse. We also have to think about what it costs them to switch from a competitor. The goal here is to frame your price not as an expense, but as an investment in the result they want. Our third C is convenience, which replaces the pretty outdated concept of place. I mean, in today's digital world, place isn't just one storefront anymore. True convenience means being everywhere your customer is and being incredibly easy to do business with. So this means creating smooth experiences between online and physical stores. It means making information like reviews, comparisons, support docs super easy to find. But the real mission here is friction reduction. Every unnecessary click, every confusing checkout step, that's a failure of convenience, and it's costing you customers. And finally, communication replaces promotion. And, this might be the most profound shift of all. We're moving away from the one-way, buy my stuff monologue of old-school advertising to a cooperative, two-way dialogue. What this means is that brands have to use social platforms to listen and interact, not just to broadcast ads. It's all about an inbound strategy, giving away helpful content that builds trust way before you ever ask for a sale. At the end of the day, success now depends on a human-first story built on authenticity. Your audience has to believe you actually have their best interest at heart. Okay, so we've defined the 4Cs. Now, let's get practical. How do you, as a strategist, actually put this framework into action? And, just as important, what are the big traps you need to avoid? It all starts with deep audience research. We're talking interviews, surveys, analytics, to find those needs they can't even put into words. Next, you map their journey, which is messy and nonlinear, and you identify every single touch point. Then you define your word, that one single benefit like safety or simplicity that you're going to own in their mind. And finally, you use great storytelling to build a bridge that connects your solution directly to their problem. And here are the failures you've got to watch out for. First, inside-out myopia. That's when you build something nobody actually wants. Then there's treating communication as promotion, using social media as a megaphone instead of a telephone. Ignoring the fact that services are intangible is another big one. You can't price them like physical products. And finally, trying to fight a perception battle with facts. Always remember, marketing is a battle of perceptions.
Theory is one thing, but let's see how this framework actually performs in the real world. We're going to look at a really cool forward-thinking example from the agribusiness sector. First up, consumer. So instead of selling a commodity, these businesses are targeting a very specific niche: affluent urban consumers in India, sometimes called India 1, and Gen Z, who care a whole lot about where their food comes from, sustainability, and their health. Next, cost. Now, this is brilliant. They use blockchain technology for complete traceability from the farm to the table. This allows them to justify a 30% price premium, but they frame it not as a higher price, but as the cost of safety and trust. That's an incredibly powerful value proposition. For convenience, they use direct-to-consumer digital marketplaces. This lets them skip the traditional middlemen and sell right to their audience exactly where they are, online. It's a completely frictionless experience. And last, communication. They use video storytelling on platforms like Instagram to create these really powerful farm-to-fork narratives. This isn't promotion. It's about building a genuine, emotional connection with city buyers through authentic dialogue. So, as we wrap things up here, what's the ultimate takeaway? The 4 C's are not just another tactic or a checklist. They represent a complete and totally necessary evolution in our marketing mindset. This matrix really captures the entire shift. We move from selling a product to solving a consumer's problem. We move from just setting a price to understanding the total cost to satisfy. From finding a place to providing total convenience. And from one-way promotion to creating a cooperative two-way communication. This, right here, is the new strategic playbook. I'll leave you with this thought from the great Peter Drucker, which just perfectly captures the whole philosophy of the 4 C's. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well, the product or service fits him and sells itself. That's the ultimate goal. And the 4 C's framework, that's how you get there.